starting now. This is your local news leader, News 10 ABC in the morning.
He's a pillar, he's one of the people of the community, and we love them. You know, as you see the turnout, people love them.
Gun violence continues to shake the capital city here in Albany following 3 shootings over the weekend, 2 more just yesterday. How community members are honoring those lost.
Getting a 2-year-old to wear a mask, not easy. And now New York State seems to agree. The latest on the daycare mask policy reversal coming in just last night.
And it's a moment some RPI students waited hours for and never got to hear. Why those attending graduation virtually are upset with the ceremony and why school officials are standing by its decision.
It's all ahead for you this morning. We thank you for starting your day with us. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
We've had some great weather recently. We've been fortunate, and we've got more sunshine this morning.
Yeah, we're going to keep the good times going here on your Tuesday. Hey, look at that. No, lots of nice blue sky over in the Berkshires this morning for some of you.
All right, thank you, Jill. Let's get a check of traffic this morning. Things have been. Be sure to download our free News 10 ABC app. You can use it to customize your traffic alerts as you need them.
Very thanks. Happening now, Albany police investigating after the city saw 2 more shootings yesterday, one involving a 15-year-old girl.
Our Juliana Bruno is live outside Albany Police headquarters this morning with the latest for us. Juliana, good morning.
Ryan and Christina, good morning. These 2 separate incidents happened hours apart yesterday. The most recent one sending a 15-year-old girl to the hospital with a gunshot wound. Now, police responded to the call for shots fired around 9 last night on Wilbur Street, and shortly after, the girl entered Albany Memorial Hospital and was being treated for her injuries. The condition of the 15-year-old girl is unknown at this time. And that was the city's second shooting victim of the day. Earlier, at around 4 p.m., police responded to a shots fired call on the 300 block of Clinton Avenue. A 20-year-old man walked into the emergency room with a gunshot wound to the back. Police say his injuries are non-life threatening, and of course, both of yesterday's incidents are under investigation. Anyone with information about those shootings is asked to call Albany Police. You can also submit an anonymous tip through Capital Region Crime Stoppers. We'll continue working to get an update on the condition of that 15-year-old girl. For now, I'm reporting live in Albany. Juliana Bruno, News 10 ABC.
All right, Juliana, thank you. And these 2 shootings come in addition to 3 separate shootings over this past weekend that devastated the Albany community.
Mary has more on that this morning and how officials and community members are paying tribute to those affected by all the gun violence and the progress being made, Mary, in those investigations.
Yesterday afternoon, hundreds came out to mourn the loss of 35-year-old Sharf Adalim, who was shot on the corner of 1st and Quail last Friday. 5 others were shot in that incident and injured. Police say Adalim was an unintended victim. Friends knew him as David and say he was a loving husband and father of 3.
I love him, and I'm definitely going to miss him so much. I am so upset about this, that it happened to him. His wife, his kids is going to miss him, and I'm definitely going to miss him, and everybody in Albany and the whole community is going to miss David. He's a good guy.
Now, over the weekend, 21-year-old Juwan Saab was arrested for that fatal shooting on 1st and Quail. Hours after that shooting on Friday, 39-year-old LaShawn Turner was shot and killed in a different shooting, this one near Central Ave and Henry Johnson Boulevard. Again, if you have any information regarding any of the recent violence, you can report an anonymous tip to the Capital Region Crime Stoppers.
A Bronx man has been arrested after scaling a fence at the Albany International Airport, crossing the runway, and managing to get into the cockpit of an empty airplane. Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple says this happened around 3 o'clock yesterday morning. 23-year-old Stan Johnson allegedly on a crime spree as well, with a report of a stolen car out of Boston to New York City, then making his way here to Albany before he got onto airport grounds unnoticed. He was eventually arrested by a TSA agent when he finally entered the terminal.
He was on the airport grounds for maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes tops. At no point was anybody really in danger, other than the fact if he stayed on a runway, obviously nothing good would have come from that.
Johnson charged with 2 counts of criminal trespassing and released on an appearance ticket.
At the Capitol, advocates are urging Albany lawmakers to move on a bill that would establish a consistent base pay for home care aides here in New York. This is a critical shortage of home health aides, and the state is forcing those at home who need care to wait a lot longer for treatment. New York State Home Care Association President Al Cardillo says that the pandemic has severely limited the ability to train people new to the field.
The demand for workers, nurses, home health aides, therapists, and others has really gone up. The ability to train in person was greatly compromised.
The recently passed state budget contains $1.6 billion in federal aid for home and community-based services.
Well, after receiving pushback from parents and daycare providers, New York State has reversed its mask mandate for kids in child care ages 2 to 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds no longer required to wear that mask while in child care or at a day camp, but still encouraged to do so. Latrina Bryant, a teacher at Mrs. Marva's Child Care Academy here in Albany, says she's ready to engage in that standard of teaching again with her toddlers, and that getting rid of that mask mandate for that age group is a step in the right direction.
Let it be on us to keep the masks on our face and to do our part to make sure that the young ones are safe.
New York State Office of Children and Family Services also saying they strongly encourage any remaining child care staff who have not been vaccinated to do so as soon as possible to prevent the spread of COVID in those classrooms. All right, to RPI now, where some recent graduates say the prestigious school all but ignored them during commencement this weekend by omitting their names during the most important part of any graduation ceremony. Students who watched the 4-hour-long ceremony online say their names were left out. Many of the disappointed graduates taking the social media app Reddit, saying that it was incredibly insensitive of RPI. Another commenting that their parents who live on the other side of the world tuned in at midnight only to be disappointed.
Well, we were waiting and they never really called my name. It's like watching a movie, waiting for a big payoff. Me and my whole family were there, we were watching, and it just never happened, unfortunately.
An RPI spokesperson says the only graduates who chose to attend the commencement in person would have their names read aloud, and added that that is consistent with previous in-person commencement ceremonies.
6:39 right now. Last night, a local barbecue restaurant helped fundraise for 12-year-old shooting victim MJ Rivera, continuing to give back to the community. Ironworks Grill held their Smoke Out Leukemia fundraiser yesterday evening at the restaurant, and MJ Rivera, who was paralyzed in a recent shooting in Troy, was the guest pitmaster for the fundraiser. They spoke about the importance of helping the community after so many people came out to support them during such a difficult time.
Usually, nothing much happened, especially recently, since quarantine, for me to thank anybody. But now, there's a lot of reasons to thank everybody.
No one's been arrested for the shooting that paralyzed Rivera in early April, but if you have any information, you are asked to please call Capital Region Crime Stoppers.
Students on Broad Alban Perth's Odyssey of the Mind team are preparing for the World Stage competition while overcoming the challenges of virtual learning during the pandemic, right? Each year, the group is presented with a problem, and they must come up with a solution that's both creative and theatrical. And this year, they had to think even further outside the box to complete that final presentation without being able to meet in person.
So I feel like it's such a reward that they decided to stay and do the hard work all year long virtually, even though many times it was not fun because you're not that as connected. And then now get to go to World Finals is pretty amazing for all of us.
Those World Finals take place June 11th and 12th. The team of 6th to 8th graders will compete virtually, while a team of 9th to 12th graders will actually get to compete in Orlando.
Terrific. Still to come, when planning your next birthday party, maybe leave TikTok off the guest list.
Yeah, up next, a look at a chaotic scene you see there unfolding out in California. A weekend party all stemming from a single social media post.
Plus, good news if you're already planning ahead for football season. The newest capacity guidelines ahead for MetLife Stadium this fall.
You're watching News 10 ABC, your local news leader, with Christina Arangio, Ryan Peterson, Mary Wilson, and meteorologist Jill Swed.